What's up, everybody? Tindo here, and I've got something interesting for you today. Yesterday, I was sitting on my phone, scrolling mindlessly as we do, and I got a sponsored ad on Facebook for a flea market that said its first day of the year was tomorrow or today. And I thought, you know what? I'll go check it out. And now I don't know what I'm getting into. I am sitting outside of it, and it does look like it's maybe not as awesome as I would hope, because it is a flea market sitting out in front of an antique store. So it's very likely that the people out there selling have just brought a lot of their stuff from inside the store, and maybe it's just all antiques, but I don't know. I think it's still going to be worth checking out. So let's go see if we can find some video games or anything else cool.
All right, first flea market of the year. Now, some of you watching that have uncovered this video, like you're an archaeologist and it's years later and you've uncovered this video on the internet, this won't mean anything to you. But some of you watching in real time right after I post this will think, but it's winter now. Why is this the first flea market of the year? Well, I've discussed this a little bit on the channel, but it's important to know, if you don't know, that here in Phoenix, everything you know about yard sales and flea markets is backwards. Wintertime is flea market season here because it's just too hot in the summer to go outside, much less to have a flea market on blacktop. But I'm really excited about it. I started this channel right in the middle of summer. So right when I started, everybody was like, why aren't you going to yard sales? Why aren't you going to flea markets? And I probably replied to 1,000 comments that it doesn't happen like that here in the summer. But it's all over now. It is nice and cool and breezy out, and I'm very happy about that. And it's time to go to flea market. So at this flea market, I really wasn't expecting to find anything. I really wasn't expecting enough to shoot an episode. I did end up, obviously, making enough footage to make an episode, or else you wouldn't be hearing me mumble over top of this video footage. But I started off not really finding anything. There were a couple Pez that I thought maybe I'd wanted, and then I saw some Dragon Ball Z toys from like Burger King or McDonald's still in their bag, and I got a little giddy over those, but I was like, no, I'm not buying more toys. I don't need more toys. And I walked around probably the entirety of this flea market, just kind of scanning things and just kind of thinking about things. I have a buddy who just texted me about Star Wars toys, asking if I could find him some specific ones. And there's some giant tubs here of Star Wars toys, and it was just way too overwhelming for me to look through them. I'm not hyper familiar with Star Wars toys. And the one thing I did ask this particular gentleman about price-wise that he had that I wanted, it was a Power Rangers toy. And I've got a nephew that is going to be the Red Power Ranger for Halloween, and his father, my brother, asked if I'd find him a Power Ranger sword. I was like, you bet, I'll come across dozens. And I've seen none, and this was the first one I saw, and it's the kind of toy I would expect to pay $1 for at the thrift store. This guy wanted like $15 for it, and it wasn't even a special one, so I didn't even bother asking him how much he was selling his Star Wars toys for. I'm not here for those kinds of prices. I did finally find some video games, this guy, and I pretty much cleaned them out. He had a big stack of games. They were $2 a piece, so I bought all but maybe one or two of them. He was very happy. He didn't seem to expect to sell any of these video games today, but he didn't know your boy Tindo was coming now, did he?
I looked around quite a bit before I found any video games at all. One guide had some relatively modern games, not really vintage, some Xbox 360 stuff, but $2 a piece is a great price, so I snatched those up.
I couldn't help but think as I walked through this flea market how much stuff was here that my recently deceased grandfather would have loved to look at. Everything from these little watches to coins he loved, and some of this specific type of glassware. If you want to know at all where I got my love for thrifting and flea marketing at, it was that man. He took me to flea markets every weekend of my life growing up, and this just feels like, man, he should have been walking around here somewhere with me. But he died a nice old age. Do not mourn for me. But just know, if you want to know why Tindo does what he does, it's because that man took me to every flea market west of the Mississippi. Or east. I can't really picture where the Mississippi is in correlation to my hometown, but that doesn't matter. It's just a saying, west of the Mississippi. But back to this flea market, there were some comic books, and comic books are like toys. It's something that I love, but I just don't have the room at this juncture in my life to collect all this stuff. But I plan to. One day, sooner than later, I plan to have a lot more space. I plan to have a whole space set aside just for making YouTube videos and doing what I do. And you better believe when I have that space, it will be hoarded to the brim with more toys, more video games. I'll have one of everything. I'll have one of all things good. But here's that Power Ranger sword I was talking about earlier. I really wanted to get that for my nephew. And honestly, just for the sake of his Halloween costume, it would have been worth it. But, I had video games to buy, unfortunately. And I am going thrifting again tomorrow. And hopefully it's kind of the last chance that I have to buy him that Power Ranger sword. So maybe we'll find it at the thrift tomorrow. I don't know. Come back and see. But I did go back and give these Star Wars toys one more once over, and I was surprised to see how many Spawn toys are in here. In-box Spawn toys at that. Are there any Spawn fans in the house? I had never really read many of the comic books, but growing up, my oldest brother was a huge, huge Spawn fan. So I always just kind of look at them and admire them. I've got a couple Spawn toys that were his that he was getting rid of at one point, but they're really just in a box in my storage unit, not on display. I don't know if I'll ever have a Spawn shelf, but I always think Spawn toys are pretty cool. There were a few Legos at the flea market. I gave them a quick eyeball, but nothing special. Legos are the 1,000th thing on that list of things that I do like to collect, but currently am abstaining from collecting. At this point, I really thought I was going to leave with just my little stack of video games, but I spotted some more Pez, and there was one in there that I definitely had to have for my X-Men collection. It's this Wolverine. I looked at the rest of them, and honestly, I would have bought more had I known what I'm about to figure out, but some of them didn't have price tags on them, and some of them had really high price tags on them. And I am already super cheap, but I'm super, super cheap when it comes to things that I don't care so much about, like Pez, which I'm currently reluctantly collecting. If you want to know why, just go back and watch some of my Pez videos. It's kind of ridiculous why I even am collecting Pez, but I was happy to find when I was checking out, this gentleman told me, hey, it's half off. You can have it for $1. I was like, awesome. $1 Pez, $1 Wolverine Pez. I will take it. Then here at this point, I actually spotted some blue jeans that, based on my limited knowledge of blue jeans, I noticed were special. So I had to put my phone down and take a look at them. But we'll come back to that in a little bit because things got a little bit crazy with these blue jeans. Hannah's the blue jeans specialist. I'm not really the blue jeans specialist. So I had to set all my stuff down and take some pictures of those blue jeans and send them to her. But I was just about to leave, and look what I spotted. There are some SNES games here, some Game Boy games, and honestly, this guy's prices were all, well, they were okay. They were what you would expect to pay at the game store or eBay. He clearly looked them all up, and he priced them all for a kind of an average of what he saw them on eBay for. He was pretty much like $10 a piece, $20 a piece, and this is all stuff I already have except for the in-box Star Wars game. And he wanted $20 for it, which is about what you'd paid for it on eBay, but it's in really good shape. And, the mood was right. I haven't really found much else here at the flea market. So I'm going to go ahead and buy this. I'm going to go ahead and buy this because the thought of this box on my shelf really just made me happy. And also, I haven't played it. I've played the Game Boy Star Wars games, and I've always wanted to play the Super Nintendo ones, so it's worth $20. It's worth $20 to sit on the shelf, the box, and to actually be played. I'm excited about it. Right before I was about to leave, this gentleman said, oh yeah, wait, check this out. And he took out this blue tub and showed me all this stuff. And there's a bunch of loose game manuals in here. There's actually like 2 or 3 loose manuals that come in box with the Game Boy. He explained to me that all this stuff was out of a storage unit he was flipping, and that he had not finished actually digging through it. This was like a quarter, he said, of the storage unit, and he hoped there was more of this stuff in there. And there was some stuff in here that I wanted, but at the same time I was like, if he finds the rest of the inbox Game Boys and stuff, like maybe I could come back and buy it all together from him, because it didn't seem like anybody here at this flea market whatsoever was interested in video game stuff. So I'm gonna keep in touch with this guy, and I'm gonna come back at the next flea market and see if he's found any more in his storage unit, and I think that's pretty cool.
I was just about to leave, and I finally found one other person, just the second guy that had video game stuff at all, and man, was it not awesome to see some Super Nintendo and some Game Boy stuff at a flea market. I would have bought more, but we couldn't come to a good price, and I didn't have an absolute ton of money to spend. I spent most of what I wanted to spend on that Super Nintendo game. That's really not bad as far as a little flea market goes, one that's just in the parking lot somewhere on the side of the road. So I'm very happy about the stuff that I got. But it is outside of an antique store. I'm not expecting to find anything in the antique store, but let's run in there and at least give it a look so that we can say that we did.
There are so many of this type of antique store around Phoenix. That I was really excited to see that when I moved here, but I began going to them, and I've probably been to 2 or 3 dozen at this point. And it's always the same. It's always antique stores, as you're about to see. This one is full of just, home stuff, pretty antique-y home stuff for shopping for home decor, and not really much else. I always check just to make sure, because if you were to walk into the same store in my hometown, there would also be toys. It would be called an antique store, but it would still have toys. It would still have vintage games. It would still have that type of stuff. But here, they're pretty strictly antiques, and that's kind of a bummer, but I still do like looking at this stuff, so I did go ahead and just make sure that there's no video games in here, and of course there's not. Just kitchenware, just homeware. Really the closest thing that this store got to video games, etc., was a few collectibles, a few comic books, a few baseball cards, and that's really it. No video games.
So the antique store is pretty cool if you're shopping for vintage furniture for your home or something, but not really anything else I was interested. But there was something in there that I was very interested in, and that's the restaurant. It smells so good. I'm actually walking alongside of it now, and I wouldn't be surprised if Hannah gets off work tonight and we come back here for dinner, because it definitely looks like it's worth a try. So yeah, I'm very happy about today. Let's go check out everything that I got and talk about it. Hold up a second, future Tindo interrupting past Tindo here for a second. I had to go back to the flea market, and here's why. Hannah and I have this neat little system worked out where if she's at work and she's too busy to answer the phone, and I see something that she might want, or I see something that's good for our clothes reselling business, I'll take pictures of the stuff at a garage sale, at a flea market, at a thrift store, and send it to her and wait around a little while. And if she hearts an image, I'll buy it. And she actually hearted some images of some jeans that I sent her while I was at the flea market. I'd already left, actually. I'd already got way up the road. And she hearted them. And I was like, oh, well, they must be important. So I stopped back by the flea market just in time, because the ladies that had these jeans were just loading up, getting ready to get out of here. And I was like, I'm so sorry, guys. I actually asked while I was at the booth earlier, hey, guys, can I send pictures of these jeans to my girlfriend? And they said, oh, absolutely, sure. And she never replied, so I didn't buy them then. So I came rushing back. I was like, well, my girlfriend wanted me to buy these, and she's like, oh, well, we were all just impressed that you were sending pictures of your girlfriend when you were here. That's very nice of you to be so thoughtful. I mean, I wasn't going to stand there explaining to them that I'm probably going to resell them. We think one pair might be pretty valuable, not like super valuable, maybe $100 pair of jeans, where we resell clothes at. So thank God Hannah got back to me in time, because if I'd come back about 10 minutes later, that would not have happened. All right, I got a bunch of stuff to my surprise. It's not a lot of stuff, but I think it's quality. I got a really old Wolverine Pez. He's marked $2, but I got him half off, so he's $1. Very happy. I bought some Pez yesterday, didn't I? I collect Pez now. I guess that's a thing. Also, I got an Xbox Connect Game Party in Motion. These were all $2, so I just grabbed all the ones I didn't already have. Halo 3, ODST. I've played a little bit of Halo in my time, but like not enough to really know what ODST is, so maybe let me know in the comments. I could Google it, but why not have you tell me? Battlefield 3 Limited Edition. I have this, missing the discs, so missing one of the 2 discs, so I've got them both now. Though that case is busted, I'll have to get a new one. Not bad for $2. And then Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4. That's very timely because that new one just came out, but also complete. Those were not bad for $2. $8 for 4 360 games, not mad about it. But here is find of the day, man. I couldn't be more excited about this. Super Star Wars for the SNES. In box, complete with manual. And man, I'm so happy about this. This is my first complete in-box Super Nintendo game. I've got lots of Super Nintendo games, but none of them complete in-box. Couldn't be more happy about that. It is a little dirty. It needs a wipe down, but it's complete. And the gentleman that I bought it from said that he bought a big storage unit, and that's what all the stuff he was selling was, and he only got through half of it. So definitely come back next time and he'll have more. He tried to talk me into making him an offer on everything he got, but we couldn't really come to a good number. I only have so much cash on me, and really everything else he had I already have. So we couldn't come up with a deal that made sense. But I'm going to talk to him again soon when they do this flea market again. He says he hopes there's more Super Nintendo stuff in his storage unit, or more gaming stuff. And if there is, I'll be back here nice and early at the next flea market to check it out. So I'm happy about today. One, because I got my first complete in-box Super Nintendo game, and that's cool. But I'm also happy because The state of flea markets here in Arizona where I live is not quite like it is back home. Where I'm from in Kentucky, any reason whatsoever for people to have a yard sale, a flea market, they'll do it. And it's not quite the same here. There is flea markets here, don't get me wrong, but they're often like this. They're outside of an antique store and they're just antiques. And obviously I'm looking for video games and lots of other stuff, you know. So I'm happy to find this. I'll definitely be coming every time they do it. I asked the guy how often they did it. He said he's not really sure, but he thinks like every other month. But I'm betting you they do it all through the winter. Because here in the summer, out in this parking lot, it'd be 120 degrees. Right now, it's a nice cool 70, 80 degrees. So they're probably just going to do it through the winter months, I'm hoping. But I'm definitely going to bookmark the site or the Facebook page that I got the advertisement from, and I'm definitely going to come back. Guys, leave me a comment. Let me know what your favorite thing that I got today was. I'm betting most of you say this bad boy. Very happy about it. Way more than I normally spend for a game. I gave 20 bucks for it, but I'm happy about it. Very happy to take this home and put it on my shelf. But that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this flea market stop. I'm going to leave you now and go take some pictures of this stuff and put it up over on my Discord and show it off a little bit. If you guys are interested in exchanging photos of the stuff that you find out in the wild at flea markets and thrift stores, join the Discord. Send me those photos. I'll show you mine. You show me yours. But that's it, guys. Hit that like and subscribe button before you go, and hit that bell notification so that when I post videos randomly like this in the future at flea markets and thrift stores, you'll get a notification then and you can come and hang out with me then. Until then, guys, peace out.